CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with an 11th hour agreement between the United States and Iran. Earlier tonight, Trump posted on social media saying the U.S. will suspend its bombing campaign for 2 weeks, during which time the Iranians say they will allow safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. With the latest, here's Joy Malbin.
It was a stunning threat even for Donald Trump against Iran. Make a deal and reopen the Strait of Hormuz, a critical oil shipping route, or else a whole civilization will die tonight, Trump posted, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will.
After that, they're going to have no bridges. They're going to have no power plants. Stone Ages, yeah.
Striking civilian targets is considered a war crime under the Geneva Convention. The threat so dire, some thought it was a hint at using nuclear weapons.
Those people who are in direct contact with the president need to say, no, I'll resign. I'll do whatever I can do legally to stop this because this is insane.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, once a Trump ally, said the president should be removed from office. 25th Amendment. Not a single bomb has dropped on America. We cannot kill an entire civilization. This is evil and madness. Iran, defiant, instructed its civilians to form human chains around power plants and bridges to deter Trump, slamming the president's threats as rude and delusional. And Qatar, caught in the middle of this conflict, warned the war could spiral out of control.
There are no winners in the continuation of this war. There are only losers.
Frantic diplomatic efforts with Pakistan acting as a mediator. The prime minister tweeted diplomatic efforts for peaceful settlement are progressing steadily, asking President Trump to stand down for a 2-week ceasefire and urging Iran to reopen the strait as a goodwill gesture, allowing oil, gas, and shipping to move freely. Iran agreed to stop the attacks, giving President Trump a 10-point plan, including lifting all sanctions, continuing Iran's control of the strait, and accepting Iran's nuclear enrichment program. What happens in the next 2 weeks will be critical. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
A substantial shift in the global markets is now expected tomorrow in the midst of wide-ranging economic impacts from the war. With more on those factors, here's Heather Wright.
English cheddars, French bries, provolone from Quebec. Good cheese in downtown Toronto stocks products from around the world and is among the many grappling with the impacts of international events.
The first thing that you're going to notice is the price of shipping is going up. So that's definitely we're feeling the pinch on that.
Not only are shipping costs up, owner Luke Champion says so too are the prices of many cheeses he sells from both international and domestic suppliers. Champion is absorbing as much as he can, but worries about the unknown.
We're feeling it a little bit, but we're concerned about what's to come.
Businesses, households, grocers, and airlines are all feeling the impact of the war in Iran, now in its 6th week. The average price of regular gas in Canada is up 51 cents a litre since February 28th. Diesel has climbed an average of 74 cents a litre, while jet fuel has surged $1.05 a litre. And many companies have already begun passing these prices along to the consumer. Air Canada Vacations has started implementing a $50 per passenger fee on some destinations, while WestJet will add a $60 fuel surcharge to all bookings made using vouchers from its MasterCard loyalty program. While Amazon will charge sellers a 3.5% fuel surcharge on deliveries beginning April 17th.
Energy, oil is embedded in everything that we have in the modern economy.
Andre Sura is an operations management professor at the University of Toronto and predicts high prices will be here for many months, even if the war ends soon.
I would say that the only certainty that we have is that it's going to take a long time until the prices, they really stabilize.
While inflation eased in February, experts are expecting a significant increase to the March numbers and say the longer this war lasts, the harder it is going to be for consumers. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Local astronaut Jeremy Hansen and his crewmates are on their way home, exiting the lunar sphere of influence this afternoon. That was the astronauts' alarm, waking them up at 11:35 a.m. our time this morning. One of their first tasks was sending back photos they took during their 7-hour journey around the far side of the moon, including a shot of a total solar eclipse they witnessed.
We were so busy with the science, and we have such faith in our vehicle integrity, such faith in mission control, that we were just at complete peace and just doing our job, and just trying to do a good job to collect as much science data as we could while we were on the far side of the moon, and we were just giddy in here.
The crew also spoke with astronauts aboard the International Space Station today. Splashdown for the Artemis 2 mission is scheduled for Friday, wrapping up their 10-day mission. There's been a significant shift in our regional transportation patterns. New data shows the Blue Water Bridge in Sarnia has overtaken Windsor's Ambassador Bridge as the busiest border crossing in the country. Sean Irvin has more on the economic factors driving this change.
The Blue Water Bridge border crossing at Point Edward is now the favored Canada-U.S. crossing for commercial truck traffic. Figures from the Bridge and Tunnel Association show more than 2.1 million trucks passed over the dual-span bridge in 2025. That compares with 1.8 million at the Ambassador Bridge. It appears the reason for the switch has little to do with changing patterns. It's about the money. Per axle fees set between 5 and 7 on the Blue Water Bridge are up to 4 times less than those charged in Windsor. Those cost savings were noted by hauling firms forced to travel the 402 during the 2022 blockades of the Ambassador Bridge.
We've heard it from trucking companies that how much they were saving every week. So they just kept that route going. And that's kind of how it started to build.
The mayor of nearby Sarnia agrees.
It's a commercial opportunity. That's why they're coming to the Blue Water Bridge in Sarnia Point Edward.
Both mayors contend that the buildup of trucks and trailers is good news for the economy. On the other hand, the news is less favorable for Sarnia and Point Edward residents. Frequent long backups of trucks along the 402 and attempts by a few drivers to cut through town to avoid them poses safety concerns.
There's a lack of respect by some truckers towards the people that live in this community and the others who are in passenger vehicles trying to get to the U.S. And that's been an ongoing issue.
Bradley has long proposed that a staging area for trucks be created outside of Sarnia to ease congestion and improve safety. In the meantime, enforcement has helped.
If they're caught cutting the line or doing something improperly, when they get to the booth, they're turned back to the end of the line and given a ticket.
Both mayors don't expect truck traffic to slow unless fees in Windsor drop, including those proposed for the new Gordie Howe International Bridge.
I can't understand the disparity and when it's impacting them that way.
Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Police in Huron County say a student suffered life-threatening injuries at a high school this morning. According to police, emergency responders were called to F.E. Medill Secondary School around 8:30 a.m. A student was found on fire in a hallway and airlifted to a trauma center. Police have not said what sent the student on fire in the first place. According to school board officials, the school will remain closed for at least the rest of this week, shifting to online learning starting Wednesday. A London man was sentenced to more than a decade in prison today for his role in one of the largest fentanyl seizures in Canadian history. With more on that case, here's Nick Paparella.
31-year-old Justin Tolliver hugged his family for one last time as he was led away from the courtroom to start serving his lengthy prison sentence. After a trial in October, Tolliver was found guilty of 11 charges, including possession of fentanyl for the purpose of trafficking. In January of 2023, he became embroiled in what was at the time the largest fentanyl seizure in Canadian history after officers got a hold of $3.2 million worth after searching his Cheapside Street apartment. Tolliver told the court he had simply rented out a room in his apartment to the co-accused 26-year-old Taimur Pasha, who was the mastermind behind it all. Pasha has already pled guilty to trafficking charges and was sentenced to 16 and a half years. In handing down her sentence, Justice Patricia Moore said of the two accused, they played materially different roles in relation to the drugs found. Tolliver's lawyer is Jim Dean.
It just demonstrates that even if it's not your operation, turning a blind eye, being willfully blind, and allowing somebody to continue to put fatal and lethal drugs onto the street is a severe responsibility for an accused.
After a joint sentencing submission from the federal Crown and the defense, Justice Moore sentenced Tullifer to 15 years. With credit for time already served, he has 14 years and 1 month left.
So he'll be doing some serious time, even though it wasn't his operation, and that's a lesson for anybody wishing to be involved or to turn, again, a blind eye.
The judge addressed the city's drug issues, saying London has been disproportionately affected by the opioid crisis and that this harm remains acute and ongoing. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
A 44-year-old man pleaded guilty to dangerous driving charges today, taking responsibility for a crash that killed one person and injured another. The court heard back on September 10th, Randy Jones was driving a pickup truck with his friends when he sped away from police in downtown London after running red lights. Jones is from Manitoulin Island and had a suspended license at the time. He eventually crashed into an SUV, killing 67-year-old Catherine Sallows, a retired principal, and injuring her husband. Jones is expected to be sentenced in June. Ontario's Land Tribunal is about to hear an appeal more than a year after the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority refused to permit a fast food chain building a restaurant in the floodplain along Adelaide Street. Daryl Newcomb reports.
Royal Premier Development isn't giving up on its proposal to construct a commercial building and fast food drive-through at the corner of Adelaide and Windermere. The Ontario Land Tribunal is about to hear an appeal by the developer more than a year after the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority refused to grant a Section 28 permit to build in the floodplain.
Well, I'll say I'm not loving it.
Local resident and instructor in urban planning, Dr. Brendan Samuels, jokes about the McDonald's drive-through in the conceptual drawings, but emphasizes his serious concerns about the proposal.
We've heard from the city's staff recommending against this proposal. We've heard from the Conservation Authority's experts saying this does not align with our policies.
A fire in April 2021 resulted in 2 vacant buildings on the property being removed. The developer's appeal claims that the proposal is a redevelopment of the property where the former structures on the property are being replaced and does not represent new development on greenfield, undeveloped lands. But in November 2024, the Conservation Authority refused the Section 28 permit application, deciding that the proposal was not a simple replacement.
It was an intensification of use, which resulted in it not being able to be approved.
This drone video by London Police shows the property flooded in 2018. The commercial development proposes a stormwater channel 16 to 21 meters wide to protect against a 1 in 250-year storm event.
This area will flood, and the mitigation being proposed is not satisfactory. What else do we need to determine this is a bad idea?
If the appeal to the tribunal is successful, it would be a major hurdle overcome for this development because City Council had previously already approved the zoning on this site.
There may be some flooding. It's really not our problem. It will be the problem of the developer and the owners.
CTV News has not received a response from Farhad Nouri of Royal Premier Development. 7 days have been set aside for a hearing in front of the Ontario Land Tribunal starting April 9th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
There's concern among recent new home buyers over missed savings from a new government initiative slashing the tax on new home sales. They say if they knew this was coming, they would have planned accordingly. Tyler Fleming reports.
It's a very tough pill to swallow. It's given me a lot of sleepless nights.
Back in February, Jalil Abu Ali and his partner Whitney put a deposit on a new construction house.
A modest 3-bedroom home in Embrun. It was still a lot of money for us.
The couple was happy until late March when the federal and provincial governments announced a plan to eliminate HST on new homes starting April 1st. That's a 13% rebate on houses up to $1 million.
My neighbor could close the same week and they, I'm just typing hypothetical numbers, but they could have a home of the exact same style property for, let's say, $80,000 less.
The Ontario Home Builders Association says the program, designed to spur construction and affordability, is already working with more people choosing to make a move.
And there's that whole trickle-down effect. The family moves up into a larger home because their family's grown, their incomes have grown. then that leaves wherever they're leaving, whether it be rental or resale, open for somebody else.
The resale market and the new build market have always been closely intertwined, yet very different.
While this year's housing market has been slow to start, experts say it's too soon to know if the HST rebate will affect resale pricing.
Keep your eyes on the horizon. Real estate is always a long-term game, and your home will go up in value, and it's not meant to be a short-term plan.
It's disheartening because this is my livelihood.
Abu Ali says he's reached out to the government and wants others in his position to do the same in the hopes of nailing down a solution. In a statement to CTV News, the provincial government reiterated the plan to help homebuyers, but did not address his concerns.
It may not mean anything to them, but for myself, for my family, this is a lot of money to be missing out on.
Tyler Fleming, CTV News.
Still to come, tidying up after a long winter. Today's launch of London's annual Clean and Green campaign. Canada's main stock index finished slightly higher today. The TSX up 56 points. In New York, the Dow lost 85. The Nasdaq added 22. The Canadian dollar climbed a modest 0.05 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold was unchanged today, while oil added 54 cents a barrel. We are 6 days away from 3 federal by-elections, a potentially crucial moment for the Liberals. On the precipice of a majority government, they need to win 2 of those 3 votes. And Abigail Beeman has more on what happens if they succeed.
A closely watched race in Terrebonne, Quebec, previously won by just 1 vote. And 2 in Toronto expected to stay Liberal red. Right now in Parliament, the minority Liberals hold 170 seats, the Conservatives 141. With 343 seats total, 2 by-election wins would officially get the Liberals a majority at 172.
The reality is it's actually a lot more complicated than that.
Political science professor Alex Marlin points to a number of factors. The Speaker, currently a Liberal, doesn't vote except in a tie. And in a tight majority, you need to make sure no one misses a vote. While the makeup of parliamentary committees doesn't suddenly change, not currently controlled by Liberals, so government business won't suddenly speed up.
Just because you happen to have a razor-thin majority, slightly more than half of the seats in the legislature, doesn't magically change an awful lot, other than in the narrative. The narrative for Mark Carney would become very, very positive, and by extension, it would be negative for Pierre Poilievre.
It would mean higher food prices, higher taxes, a ballooning deficit, which Mr. Carney has already doubled. It would mean that he could continue to block resource projects and give us the only shrinking economy in the G7.
That's why the 3rd by-election in Terrebonne could make a difference, a tight fight between the Liberals and the Bloc. Add 4 floor crossers this session and questions about the future of a Trudeau cabinet minister, and you see why each seat matters. While the Prime Minister was clear, even with a majority, he wouldn't prorogue Parliament, launching a reset.
Absolutely not. It has never even entered my thinking.
There are more questions still about what could change the course of Parliament and government business. How the Prime Minister plans to fill growing Senate vacancies is one of them. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Good evening. Clear skies, light winds, and calmer conditions overnight, but it'll still be cold with wind chills close to about -10. A chilly start in the morning, -5. Heading out the door to -4 by 8 o'clock. Lots of sunshine, though, and winds shifting southeast. Thank you, Chris Fowler, for this photo of a rocket. I've been showing a couple beach shots over the past couple of days. I think many people excited to get back to the beach and enjoy some outdoor fun. We have some milder temperatures in the extended forecast. Stay with us. Your local weather is coming up next.
Welcome back. On the desk now with Julie Atchison, and certainly some deceptive sunshine today. As the day went on, it did not really warm up, and it's still going to be frosty tonight.
Yeah, the temperature overnight dropping right off. Wind chills still close to -10 to -14. So dealing with some bitterly cold air. Today, recovering a bit this afternoon under that sunshine, but wow, that wind was biting out of the northwest. We woke up to snow today. Flurries, but those winding down. Tonight, skies will be clear. But as I mentioned, and temperatures continuing to fall out there. And even though the winds have eased off, we're still dealing with a significant wind chill, especially for this time of year. Taking a look at the satellite radar, you can see the Clipper system that moved through that brought us that cold northwest wind, and the snowfall has now moved well off to the east. Still a little bit of light snowfall pushing through the Maritimes tonight, and that will continue to drive eastward. High pressure over the Great Lakes, that has shut down the lake effect flurries and yes, brought clear conditions, and we did end the day with sunshine. It was a beautiful, although frosty end to the day. Heading through the overnight, I mentioned clear conditions and light winds. We'll wake up to sunshine tomorrow morning. First thing in the morning, yes, we'll be out the door with winter coats, but by the afternoon, temperatures climbing back into the double digits. We'll hit about 9 to 10 degrees in the afternoon. We do have some heavy snowfall moving across the prairies, but our next weather system will come in as a cold front, and that will arrive on Thursday. So we'll be watching that take shape over the next 24 hours. We do have a little bit of light rainfall moving through Iowa as we head through the overnight in parts of northern Missouri. Conditions in southern Ontario, calm to start, beautiful for your Wednesday. Thursday, we will introduce the chance for showers. You can see this is the front that comes through. Now, this cold front will actually play a role in the forecast Thursday and into Friday. So it comes through the day Thursday, and it looks to sort of stall out just south of us and then lift backwards, back towards southern Ontario, so as a stationary boundary. So it'll be an interesting one Thursday into Friday with the chance of showers lingering. Thursday late, we could see a bit of a break in the precipitation before moving back in. Now, of course, you want to know when it's going to warm up. By Thursday, we're back into the upper teens. So your forecast high tomorrow coming in at around 10 degrees. We'll hit 9 late in the afternoon, but we should hit the double digits. 20 degrees on Thursday with showers expected by the afternoon, arriving in the morning and then tapering off late day. Rain in the forecast on Friday. Lots of sunshine for your Saturday. Beautiful weekend is setting up. It looks dry, and yes, temperatures not too bad. 18 on Sunday. We'll see a warm front come in, and that'll bring a bit of cloud cover with a slight chance for a shower. Rain Monday and Tuesday, daytime high, so 18 to 19 degrees. Great news, the extended forecast models indicating a major warm-up coming our way, and that's as we start to move through the mid part of the month. So all the forecast models indicating temperatures will average above normal. So yes, done with winter. I was making jokes today about sprinter. Yes, we were feeling that for sure this morning, but heading into the extended forecast, temperatures warming above average, and yes, we are out of that deep cold. Sunshine tomorrow across the area, and then daytime highs climbing Thursday into Friday. Potential for a bit of mixed precipitation in Midwestern Ontario still this time of year, of course, but the weekend is looking good with sunshine to a mix of sun and cloud. Carlyle, back to you.
Thanks very much, Julie. London's annual Clean and Green campaign launched today. With more on the citywide effort, here's Brian Bicknell.
It may be a snow-white spring day, but the City of London wants you to think green.
If every single one of us picked up one piece of litter, just one empty water bottle, one discarded McDonald's bag, that would be 484,000 pieces of litter if we all just picked up one item.
The city has launched the 31st annual Clean and Green campaign. It's 12 days of community cleanups, but the deputy mayor says it is so much more.
It's also about how we want to look to businesses who want to come here and do business, how we want to look to visitors who are coming here for the many great things that we have to offer. It is how we present ourselves to the rest of the province, the rest of the country, and the rest of the world.
But it's not just an aesthetic thing. The buildup of waste after winter's melt often creates significant sanitary issues in an urban environment. Everything from foul odors to pest problems.
We're seeing a lot of garbage surface in our ditches, our parks, our sidewalks, everywhere we're seeing a lot of garbage.
Lots of ways to get involved. You can add your own cleanup location to an interactive map at getinvolved.london.ca. You can take part in the 20-minute makeover on Friday, April 17th, or a community-wide cleanup on Saturday, the 18th.
If you register your cleanup for the Saturday, April 18th, our garbage collections folks will come to and pick up your garbage bags for you.
Meanwhile, community partner Goodwill is asking residents to donate unwanted textiles, picking up on the Worn or Torn donation drive pilot last summer.
Over 3 weeks, we collected 35,000 pounds of clothing and textiles that people were going to be throwing in the garbage. And what was so surprising was that 1% was true waste. The rest all could be repurposed.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Pure Country 93. London's home for the best country music. Listen for your chance to win $50,000 with Pure Country's Big 50K Payday.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, Newfoundlanders taking issue with a portrayal of their province after a flight was grounded in St. John's. Passengers complained of being stuck on a frozen island for days. But as Garrett Berry reports, the locals have never seen it that way.
A story of heroism the likes the world has never seen.
A headline so worthy of parody, Keith Muse says he just couldn't leave it alone.
That was stranded on a lifeless, frozen tundra island.
When the BBC and People magazine wrote of one flight's air travel nightmares, they called Newfoundland a freezing Canadian island.
In a city of mere hundreds of thousands, 200,000.
That description didn't quite sit just right with some people in this province who are kind of famous for bringing people in when flights are grounded. The musical Come From Away about the grounded flights after the 9/11 attacks helped catapult central Newfoundland to Broadway fame.
I just don't want to hear anybody badmouthing Newfoundland. You know, you don't get stranded here. You can't get stranded in the best province in the country, as far as I'm concerned.
The British Airways flight from London was grounded for 2 days in St. John's, first for a medical emergency and then for what staff called a temporary technical issue. All the while, they didn't have access to their bags.
We are used to this, and the staff are used to getting called in the middle of the night to come and help, and they're very dedicated.
Heather McKinnon and her team at the Delta Hotel took in most of those passengers during their delay. She says hotel staff made extra runs to Shoppers or Walmart to help passengers while their bags were stuck on board.
Some were traveling for funerals, some were traveling for weddings, so that was a little frustrating, but they kept in good humor.
But that headline, the freezing Canadian island, it caught the attention of this province's tourism minister, who wrote to People magazine today, complaining the headline diminished Newfoundland and Labrador. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.